I do ask every publisher, every editor, and every newsman in the nation to re-examine his own standards and to recognize the nature of our country's peril. In time of war, the government and the press have customarily joined in an effort based largely on self-discipline to prevent unauthorized disclosures to the enemy. In times of clear and present danger, the courts have held that even the privileged rights of the First Amendment must yield to the public's need for national security. For the facts of the matter are that this nation's foes have openly boasted of acquiring through our newspapers information they would otherwise hire agents to acquire through theft, bribery, or espionage. The details of this nation's covert preparations to counter the enemy's covert operations have been available to every newspaper reader, friend and foe alike. That the size, the strength, the location, and the nature of our forces and weapons, and our plans and strategy for their use, have all been pinpointed in the press and other news media to a degree sufficient to satisfy any foreign power. The newspapers which printed these stories were loyal, patriotic, responsible, and well-meaning. Had we been engaged in open warfare, they undoubtedly would not have published such items. But in the absence of open warfare, they recognized only the tests of journalism and not the tests of national security. And my question tonight is whether additional tests should not now be adopted. That question is for you alone to answer. No public official should answer it for you. No governmental plan should impose its restraints against your will. But I would be failing in my duty to the nation in considering all of the responsibilities that we now bear and all of the means at hand to meet those responsibilities if I did not commend this problem to your attention. It is the unprecedented nature of this challenge that also gives rise to your second obligation, and that is our obligation to inform and alert the American people, to make certain that they possess all the facts that they need and understand them as well, the perils, the prospects, the purposes of our program, and the choices that we face. No president should fear public scrutiny of his program, for from that scrutiny comes understanding, and from that understanding comes support or opposition, and both are necessary. I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people. And it means, finally, that government at all levels must meet its obligation to provide you with the fullest possible information outside the narrowest limits. If the press is awaiting a declaration of war before it imposes the self-discipline of combat conditions, then I can only say that no war ever posed a greater threat to our security. Our way of life is under attack. Those who make themselves our enemy are advancing around the globe. The survival of our friends is in danger. And yet no war has been declared. No borders have been crossed by marching troops. No missiles have been fired. If you are awaiting a finding of clear and present danger, then I can only say that the danger has never been more clear, and its presence has never been more imminent. It requires a change in outlook, a change in tactics, a change in missions by the government, by the people, by every businessman or labor leader, and by every newspaper. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. Nevertheless, every democracy recognizes the necessary restraints of national security. And the question remains whether those restraints need to be more strictly observed if we are to oppose this kind of attack as well as outright invasion.
Welcome, everyone, to the Royal House of We the People. It's been a while since we've done a podcast over the holidays. We've kind of taken a break. It's one person that hasn't taken a break. She's always doing podcasts every day, and that's Sheila Holm. And Sheila, we're so grateful for you to come back on the channel with us, with Anna and I and Mike. And I know that we have so much to talk about. We got a short window here of about an hour. And I know that what we'll do is we're going to just turn it over to you, and we'll go from there. How's that sound?
That's great. I got a surprise for you. You're not going to believe what just happened on Tuesday night. I was invited by, I thought they said it was General Bosey. It's Lieutenant Colonel Bosey out of Australia, has a military intel panel on John Michael Chambers' new JMC broadcasting. He was American Media Periscope. And so they've never invited a non-military person. I was the first they invited. They haven't had a woman who's in military either, but I don't want to emphasize just because I'm a woman, but they have me on. And the 1 hour military intel panel went on for 3.5 hours, and the whole thing is going to be released tomorrow. So I'm going to get it to you guys to put on your channel so you can release it too.
Yep.
Give you the
Excellent.
you can release it too. There is so much happening. And I gave a little update to Mike in what I released on Twitter. And let me tell you where it is on Twitter. It would have been 2 days ago because it was on Tuesday, right before we did the military intel panel. And there's a little video with it. And I think you're going to be able to bring it up from Twitter. And it's Captain Kyle. And it would be from Tuesday, so 2 days ago. And this is what the president is going to say. I'll read what the president said. I sent the VP to Minnesota. This is his humor, guys, so just enjoy. To try and calm the waters and reach an understanding with the governor and mayor. They declined to help. I sent Tom Holman. Remember, he said he's going to bring back a good report. With 40 years of professional experience, awarded the highest possible award by President Obama, and asked him to reach an understanding with the governor and the mayor. They declined to help. So now I'm sending David Gardner up there. I'm sure he'll reach out to the governor and the mayor to hear their views. Then he'll do what he thinks best. Who is he? I should have been more expansive in my introduction. He's the Major General David Gardner, commanding officer of the 101st Airborne Division of the United States Army. They will arrive in helicopters, and let's see it through to the end because you're going to find out the infantry went too. This is so adorable.
Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send?" And I said, "Here am I. Send me." Then I heard the voice of the Lord.
Wow.
He heard the verse of the Lord, and the Lord said, "Who may I send?" I told the Lord, "Send me." This is the template in Minnesota, guys. The president has already confirmed. This is the template in every city. And it was always 14 cities, remember? Then he went down to 12 and said, I think we're doing pretty good. It's going to be 12 cities. And then now, boom, he's up to 15. And so how does this relate to what's going on? He's sending them in by helicopter, but he's not sending them in to go park in a Walmart or come down in a Walmart parking lot, get out, see how the guys are doing, check their views. What do they think of the world? He's sending them on ropes coming down from the helicopters is how he's sending them. The helicopters aren't staying there. He's sending this whole load. Every helicopter is full of our guys being dropped down in there, infantry and airborne.
Wow.
Okay. They know what they're going to do because he sent the vice president. You don't want to create, you decline the help. We send in Tom Holman. You don't want to, you don't care what he's doing. And then the president came out at the same time. I love how he does this. He comes out and he goes, I had a nice conversation with Walls, and I think we're going to be, I think he even put a tweet or truth out on this. He's a nice guy. And I think I think we're kind of on the same wavelength now. And I think we're going to be able to work together. And they're not going to cooperate with anybody. And I was already sending out the picture of the mansion in Minnesota. Did you guys see? He wasn't waving the American flag and
No.
another flag. He had the Somali flag in front of the mansion in Minnesota that was so full of Norwegians. My old dad's family, they're all Norwegian, and they're everywhere in Minnesota, and they're so shocked. So I don't know if you guys saw what I've been posting out, but I put out a thing on Lake and Riley. Remember Lake and Riley, who was killed by illegal, and nobody would say her name. And so I put out her
Yes.
picture on the anniversary, and in caps I put "say her name." And still nobody would say her name. Okay. So after I do that and bring that up, then we turn around and remember the gal that charged against the ICE officers with her vehicle? Her name's Michelle Brown, Michelle Brown, I think, sent this on to me. There's a picture of her, and this gal that there's a picture of. Once I put the picture out, because it's Lake and Riley, and go, oh, Sheila, how about this gal? Remember how all the media said she didn't run over him? Nobody ran over anybody's body. She didn't run over his body. So they kept repeating this on every station. Like they wanted to kill him, but they weren't successful in killing him. I mean, guys, we're going to think about what they're saying. So that goes out. So then somebody writes back to me. I think it's Michelle Brown. And she's saying, did you know this is her rap sheet? I'm like, oh my gosh. And guys, it goes on for pages and pages and pages. So then because of that, somebody said, well, I know her as this, and this is the training session she's going to. So then I release that as to the training organizations that are all around our country on how to resist ICE and federal agents, and how to ram their vehicles, they're training people, and they're willing to ram their vehicles. So as soon as I send that out, I send out a video of a guy, they're trying to get him out of his vehicle, not because he needs to be deported. He's ramming the ICE agents again, like that woman. And so they're trying to get this guy out of the vehicle. He backs up and rams into an ICE vehicle, and then they still can't stop him. He goes forward and rams into another ICE vehicle. So I'm like, how do they know how to do this so well? I get the training program information. Guess who the organizer is to get them in the training and to get them doing the protesting and get them to fight our ICE agents? She's the candidate for state senate in Minnesota, best friend of Tim Walz.
Yeah,
So I put their picture out. Do you see what I mean?
I do.
The digital warriors are coming together and fighting so hard together. It's just so profound as to what's happening. It's just, we're getting so much done because of We the People. This is a good one to stop on right here. If you think it was the satanic and angel battle right above this. And it's a picture right above this one. And it's if you're talking about Democrats and Republicans, you have whoops, that's the one. You have no idea what's actually going on. And that's why people keep asking for arrests. So when I sent that one out, people still don't understand. You're either in truth and life kingdom or you're in death. The battle is you're either want the good to happen in this country, or you want this evil to be an uprising in this country. So I wrote this whole summary. I was on this for a long time. And because we've got prophets out there speaking against J.D. Vance. So since they were on famous interviews, I contacted the hosts. And I said, I know you had this person on. I know they say they're a prophet. They're trying to destroy the reputation of J.D. Vance. Let me tell you what the truth is. Was J.D. Vance as bad in Ohio as Pence was in Indiana? Yes. Were they doing the same thing against our children? Yes. So then why aren't they a bad person? J.D. Vance was 5'7". 5'7" is shorter than Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, 5'11". Not once has J.D. Vance stood by, since we've seen him, and he's been out speaking and holding events, has he been shorter than Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House. He is 6'2", same height as the president. It's not the same person. So I drew their attention to that and said, how would a prophet be hearing from God that that person should be spoken against when there's a very big reason that we don't have to know all of it, but he was a freshman in the whole structure of Congress and already compromised before he got that position. And what else do we need to know? Because it isn't the same person standing in the boots of that person that's fighting for our country. So to be a prophet of the Lord, and that's why I did this whole thing. And we're in the days of Elijah. All 850, there was nobody but Elijah. All 850 were false prophets, every single one of them. That's why Elijah said, pour more water, pour more. Let's pour more water on it. Because he's tight with the Father, and he knows that the Father is going to use fire, and it's all going to be taken care of. That's when you hear from the Lord. Not that, I heard this guy's really bad. And there's people who are wolves in sheep's clothing, and they're deceiving the president, blah, 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 blah. The churches are deceiving the people. What do you mean? There's wolves in sheep's clothing deceiving the president. You don't think he knows? When he went in, I'll give you an idea of where we've been in this country. When he went in 2017, do you know there were no job descriptions even for Homeland Security? Did you know there were no accountables? Did anybody know any of this when they went in 2017? And they got all of these departments, 405 aren't even needed. They got all of this going on. And yet they keep us fighting each other on who's good and who's evil. And it doesn't really matter unless God tells you, beware of this one, stay away from this one, talk to this one, ignore this one. You want the Father. People keep writing me saying, what's your opinion on this? And Sheila always has us go to the Father. Because until the Father tells you, it doesn't mean anything. Humans aren't going to get you through this. We are in a battle that goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden. We have lost so many men's lives. We've tried this 6-7 times since the Civil War. I think I've mentioned this before. And that's why I'm so excited that our military, in the midst of all of this and the horrific stuff that's been happening in Minnesota, the Lord said, who can I send? So I said, send me. That's that. And this is going to be happening in every city. And so if you're sitting out there wondering, and I get this question every day, oh, when is he going to do the Insurrection Act? Like, you think that's going to be a good thing? That is not a good thing. The insurrection has happened to us. And it's not us fighting us in an insurrection. That's what led, when Lincoln did that, that's what led to the Civil War. And we are not going to have our republic back if we do the same thing. So that's not the answer. You need to understand.
Can I interrupt you a second?
Yeah.
Because you've said this before, and I want to put emphasis on this because I know there's many patriots out there that are just pissed off. They want the Insurrection Act. They want this. And you've said this, and I agree with you. We want to save as many souls as possible because so many people have been MK Ultra. They've been so brainwashed by the media, by our school systems, by our universities, by every institution that's always been part of our life. And if they were just to go in and do what they were going to do, we'd have utterly chaos, and that's what the Black Hats want. So I just wanted to make that point because you brought this up before, and I wanted to make sure that everyone that's in our audience understands we're trying to do this as delicate as possible to save as many lives as possible. Thank you.
Well, and it's not even black hats, white hats. It's not Republican or Democrats. It's not race or color. It's not belief systems. We've all been programmed. MK Ultra takes it to a whole different level, but we've all been programmed. TV program, movie program, school program, like what you were saying. But it's not. The MK Ultra was done to take the bright ones, the ones that are tight with the Father, and get them to agree to be used. And so what they did to them, they got away with it, and then they were so deep into it they couldn't get out. And that's even we've got a secret soldier program we're trying to work on now because they don't have a memory anymore of who they were, trying to reunite them with their families, but we've got to get them back to who they were to get them back with their families. I've been working on this for about 5 years with there's SEAL team members that were put in secret soldier, special soldier. They have several titles for it, but a lot of families have been told their sons are dead, but there's no death certificate. There's no coffin. There's no body. There's no, what do you mean he's dead? I want some proof of this, and they won't provide anything, and they won't tell them what happened to their son. So, and that isn't by lost at war. That's by what they're doing. And so I just want to make that clear because people think MK Ultra just happens to people like George Carlin said, that they go up the hill and then when they come back down, they're not the same. And that is the kind of thing. But to think that they're separate from us, because we've all been programmed. I mean, I'm no different than anybody else. I've seen movies that gave me ideas that are wrong. I've seen, we've all been through it. We've all been through it. But insurrection act, please quit asking for it. You have power and authority in the Lord Almighty. And we got to be careful what we ask for. Because if it goes down that path, we may never get our republic back. If we, because we say things without knowing them. It's just like all this election stuff. There was just a huge raid. I think you guys heard about it in the last 24 hours in Georgia. Crime tape everywhere. They went into Fulton County and completely uprooted everything about the election. And they knew everything was, but now they've got the subpoenas and the warrants. And there was Tulsi Gabbard in the background, all in black with a black baseball cap on, and you wouldn't even know it was her unless you got up really close to see it was her. But she has told us about, since I've seen you guys, she has told us the entire litany of Obama. And why Obama's arrest is critical is because he didn't just include departments and agencies. He masterminded the whole coordination of the whole thing against the president to uproot and remove a seated president. And all of it was done based on lies. And all of it was done made up out of thin air. I've already mentioned about the Russia hoaxes made up in Atlanta, Georgia at Georgia Tech. So, but that's an assessment case. You can look that up. That's available on the internet. And so what they're doing now, Kash Patel, I don't know if you guys have covered this, but Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard have announced that it's racketeering. And they're talking about all of Congress because you have to do the Somalis and you have to do the Iranians in California and the Somalis and then the Somalis in Nebraska. I mean, it's not just Minnesota. The Somalis in Nebraska took over the meat plants, and they're in control of all of it. And in San Diego, they've been the taxi drivers, just like the jitney drivers of the pirates over in the Caribbean, to find out what's going on, who's going where, who's doing what, and report into their handlers. And that's been going on since the early 2000s. So we've got more issues to deal with across our country, but they're identical. The pattern is identical. The money laundering is identical. The fraud in the structuring of using our tax dollars, it's all identical. And that's why it went from 14 cities down to 12 cities, and now they're saying 15. I don't care how many cities, because the president has already done the executive order. Maybe you guys have covered this, where the sanctuary cities aren't getting funded anymore. Wake up. And
Yep.
because they're not being funded. But now, did you know there's even a church in Georgia, in Clarksville, Georgia, where I was when God took me to the mountaintop in 2015. And the banker I met at a prayer meeting in Habersham United Believers Hub prayer meeting. And he's the banker in Clarksville, Georgia. And did you know that they're training up the people in Georgia against Georgia in a church in Clarksville, Georgia? And that's where the line of the Cherokee and the Creek Nation, because they were all of Georgia. Creek were in the south part, about the south 2/3 were Creek, and the top third was Cherokee. And that in the 1777 map, this was all their land. But there were a few counties along the Savannah River that were already in position by somebody by 1777. And so here we are, where they're in Clarksville, Georgia, training up the people how to destroy America. So Anna, you were trying to say something, and I
No. Yeah, thank you, Sheila. Thank you. I was going to mention something that I have been thanking God for allowing me to have the serenity to see and to see that coming together here in Brazil, because a lot of people always talk very bad about President Lula, and I am included in this kind of group. He was in the left side, in well, all related, all attached to Cuba, and that's what we know. That's what we received as information. And but he has the red folder. I got the picture when he was talking to President Trump at the UN last year, that there's the red folder, and I have seen the red folder many years ago in one of his pictures. And it's clearly not him. Well, for me at least, it's clear that it's not him. And even President Bolsonaro's account has been showing that to the people. Guys, pay attention. You're looking at very similar people. Please pay attention. And the whole purpose of all this splendid plan that it's being portrayed for us is that we understand that we are all in the same earth. We are all living the same circumstances. We should not point fingers to one another, because maybe the bad guy have helped more than you believe. And maybe the good guy is not as good as you think as you think he is. So it makes us much more mature, much more aligned with all the plan, because I listen to the people here still wanting to get zillionaires. Oh, I want my money, I want the funds, I want the money, I want the gold, and blah blah blah. And by the end of the day, I have learned so much more to be human. As First Lady Melania was telling us, we need to be human again. We need to have these stories and come and get inspired to be best. And be best is not pointing fingers to a person who is representing your country, despite the fact that you are not his supporter. I'm not a supporter of Lula, but if he has done something that I don't know about, and if he's going to be trialed somewhere, yes, that's what it should be done. Justice, not revenge, not I like my people, I dislike your people. Eh, I have matured so much, and I have reviewed so many things, and I bring that to the people, and I feel much more connected to Christ being because of that. Well, I think I'm connected to Christ, so I am much more able to see this way. But anyway, that here in Brazil, that's the perspective. And regarding Maduro, for example, we have seen we have received information on how he was captured, and some other sources have said, "Oh, he has been helping a lot on the back channels, on the back channels." So it's much more about being human again, being a collective again. I'm human. You are from Brazil, you are from Argentina, you are let's yeah, what are the best from all of us? I'm very
Have we talked about things since Maduro? Have we come together since Maduro? I don't think we
no,
have.
no. Well, I
No,
think we
Okay, you had
yeah,
mentioned Maria Machado, and then she
yeah,
won the Peace Prize, remember?
yeah.
yeah.
If the White Hats weren't involved, do you think Maria Machado
Of
would have gotten the
course
Peace
not.
Prize? That she would have been able to be be brought out in advance of Maduro? And some people say, well, he wasn't captured; he was extracted, and then they don't want to say she was extracted. I'm sorry, Georgia just has me going today. But anyways, they got Maria Machado out. Now she's with the president, and she gives him her Peace Prize. Okay.
Yeah. In
Do you know
front
what
of
just
the
happened in the past
Constitution.
few hours?
In
President
front of
Trump, we're at a point, I'm sorry, we're at a point in Venezuela where just in the past few hours, I don't even know if it's been announced yet, airspace over Venezuela is open for families to be able to
oh,
connect in Venezuela and gather together again. What does that tell you about what our guys have done in Venezuela?
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay.
exactly.
So now let me explain this from, and the thing that's been so emotional for me, and the reason why I had to really pull back, I haven't been able to write or anything, but I really had to pull back because everything was so intense. I cannot even describe in words what Father has revealed to me that if we didn't have the Panama Canal resecured, because there was no way to find it. There's no treaty, there's no real estate transaction. There was no way to find it if God hadn't said. U.S. State Department statement, Second Panama Canal Treaty. And I clicked and searched. And I can't even tell you how emotional that is because right now, the heart of the world, draw it. It swings up around from Chile because Chile's been in trouble too, and Peru swings up and it's got Venezuela, Colombia, it's got Mexico, swings into the Panama Canal and covers Cuba. Why? Do you know that okay, I'm gonna fast forward to what just happened at Davos, and I'm gonna come back to this because what just happened at Davos is what he has spent everything since 2017 to do, starting with that capitulation tour in 2017 with the red folders, like you talked about. Because every nation has been taken over like America, and missionaries were coming from all over the world and asking me, "Who should I meet with to help America?" Because they're not awake, they don't understand. So when he just went to Davos, what did he do? He gave us the answer. He started the peace board. How could he do that? Because we're out of the WHO. We're out of the WEF. They aren't going to control our currency. WHO isn't going to control anybody's health programs. The UN isn't going to control anything because a peace board is going to bring peace to all nations and we're going to unite together. And what do? They swarm in, and Carolyn Levitt had all the documents. She does all of that. She walks off the stage. The president shakes all their hands. He walks off the stage. They've been had. Game over. Okay. And so what happens with NATO? So now how does this come back to the heart that I just told you about? What happened with NATO? NATO has no power over anything. He's been telling us again and again that NATO wasn't paying. What did that mean? All of these battles we've been fighting, all these world wars, all of these conflicts, all of these civil wars that we've lost tens of thousands of our men fighting because a good believing man will go fight a cause for another person who needs help. They'll just do it. They don't even think, they just go because we're built that way. We have a conscience and we don't do these crazy things that the evil people in the other kingdom do because they're wired different. They believe the lies and they state the lies and they will never know the truth. And that's what you talked about, Jim, is because I can't call you that other name. I have to call you Jim. Okay. So we have to remember that that's what's important is the soul of the person. And unless your soul is whole, there's no way to get you through this. There's no way to get you through this. And people think I can hold unforgiveness against this person. I can do this. I can do this. No, that's why the president said what? I've had to learn how to love the haters. He didn't just say enemies, the people who hate him And there are people who just, the Trump derangement syndrome is just so huge. I mean, I've still got it. I've tried to invite 7 people so I could go with somebody to the Melania film. I don't have a single person that'll go with me in Augusta, and they're all believing people. And I thought I knew them, and they're like, I'm not going to go to her movie. I'm not going to go pay money to go see anything about that. Do you see where we are? So even when you think you know what's going on, you don't really know what's going on with the people. What we learned in COVID, we learned. What we learned about be seated 6 feet apart in a church, we learned what all that happened, and we thought everybody thought like we did, and they don't. So now that we come to this point, and he has shown us, because here's the difference. When we were fully in NATO, we were paying everything. They weren't paying anything. He's the only president who said, you guys got to belly up and got to pay something, because it's all people where? On the other side of the world. Okay. And we let it go, and we kept paying. We paid to go bomb them all up, and then we paid to rebuild them. Nothing get rebuilt in America. You see anything getting rebuilt in America? So we were doing that in NATO. And that's supposed to be something that's good for us when we're paying 70, 75%, and none of it is for us. And we're sending our men, and all their deaths mean nothing to these people because they're just going to bomb each other up anyway. Because that's what they're set to do, because our tax money paid for all that to happen. So now by putting together the peace board, now I come back to the heart because of the Panama Canal. We have never focused on our own hemisphere. They've kept us focused, think about it, on the other side of the world. We haven't helped anybody in South America. We haven't had, and this is how much people know. I have this great friend, and he's got that weird, it's way beyond daddy kind of jokes. His name is Craig Stump. He's on my Facebook, and sometimes I just have to just stop and see a bit of his posts because he's just funny. And so he put this out, and it said, guys, want you to know this is a joke. That's on the front top line. Then he put a picture of a map, and it's in light blue. And he said, did you know that most Americans can't even find Venezuela on this map? People answered him all day long. And he goes, wrong, that's not it, that's not it. Did you know that if you look at the top of Africa and the top of South America, there's a nation that looks like Venezuela, and there's one next to it that looks like Colombia. But it was a map of Africa that swings in on the western. They have a whole Western Africa that's separate from the rest of Africa. It's on the continent, but it's not connect. I mean, it's completely different. It's called West Africa. And you swing in, and South America looks very similar, but it doesn't come way in. They didn't even know they were looking at an African map. They don't even know really where Venezuela is. Do you see what I mean? And he said right up front, guys, this is a joke. You know what I mean? He's that good at what he does. He just, and his humor. I mean, he put one out the other day, and he said, this isn't because it's my anniversary, but I just want you to know I was in the elevator with my wife last night. And in a few moments, I realized I'm wrong on several levels. Because he's in an elevator. Do you see what I mean? And so, but I love this kind of humor. And sometimes I have to just go see some of it because things are so intense right now. Yeah. We're getting so much done. We're doing so much. We're having conversations. The president's with the president of Mexico today and made the wonderful comment that we're having such good conversations that I'm going to go spend some time down there and talk with her there. And I'm going to be having her back to talk with me here. Do you see the difference? We haven't had that with Mexico. We haven't had it with Cuba. Do you know why we haven't had it? In that extra, if you look at Cuba, look at that band across the world on our side. Do you know we've never healed from the Spanish-American War? In Los Angeles, I didn't know why they were doing this. In Los Angeles, they had their vehicles going all through town on the weekends. American flag upside down underneath the Mexico flag right side up. Nobody said anything about it. Radio station La Raza. La Raza is a revolution. They were putting the covers, whatever you call it, on the Amtrak train cars and the other train cars going up and down the coast. So all the migrants were seeing, we have to have a revolution. They've stolen our land. We didn't steal anybody's land. The Treaty de Hidalgo back in the end of the 1800s, by 1900, we paid $15 million for that land and settled the borders. But then we had the battle at Alamo. Well, Fort Sam Houston is right there. And Sam Houston was, I think, one of the leaders of that. So then I've talked before, I think, about the Rough Riders, and we did the Man in the Arena from Theodore Roosevelt. I think we did that before. And so here's Teddy Roosevelt training his guys down by Fort Sam Houston. And we were still battling all of this, even though we paid them the $15 million. That's what the Rough Riders were doing. They were going back and resecuring the borders. Okay. So what did they do? It got so bad in Cuba fighting us because Cuba thought we stole land from them. It all comes to stolen Panama Canal. We want our canal back. You never built the canal. It was never your canal. We want our land back. It's not your land. We've had the land for more than a century. It's our land. We paid for it. Okay. So now here's Cuba. And if the Rough Riders and the 17th Infantry out of New York, if they had not loaded all their horses, and I don't know if they put them on a barge, they got them across to Cuba and they fought. If we hadn't been victorious on San Juan Hill, and all of this is documented that nobody ever talks about, if we had not accomplished that, they would still be wanting the southern part, at least Florida, and they would still be wanting because they feel we stole from them. So since 1903, and if you look it up on a map, San Juan Hill is right by Santiago. And if you go just a little bit to the right, there's our Guantanamo Navy base. So do you know what's still, and I just looked this up this week, do you know what's still on the internet about Guantanamo base? America stole land from Cuba to put in that base, and they're still there. Do you know we've been paying a high-level lease to Cuba for that land since we won San Juan Hill? They needed the money. We needed the location. We've been paying them a lease ever since 1903. It's all documented. And yet, what is the media saying on the internet? We stole land from Mexico. We stole land from Cuba. We stole land from, do you see what I mean? And that's why it hurts so much when people said, oh, now he's going to take care of their gas and oil wells. And we've still got more than 200 capped in California alone that we're aware of. We'll show him where they are and where they're capped. Have Chevron fix this. Have us get fixed. We're not in the shape Venezuela's in. They were one of the wealthiest nations, third and then second in the world back in 2000, 2001, 2003. And then Chavez and Maduro, and boom. But Chavez and Maduro were their puppets. If you look at, have you guys seen the indictment against Maduro? Do you have a copy of it? If you don't have a copy of it, let me know and I'll send you a copy and you can put it below in the link.
I have it on, I saw it on X, but I have not downloaded it. No.
Okay. Yeah, I put it out on X, but I'll send it to you guys so you can put it below this interview. If you look at that indictment, they did the same thing to him that they did to Woodrow Wilson, that they did to all of our presidents. And Woodrow Wilson said, for the sake of saving my own family, I sacrificed my nation. It's the same for Maduro. So was Maduro captured to be killed? Or was he extradited out of there, just like the cartels from Mexico that we talked about coming to America? Because what the president's going to do, my God, they're our neighbors and they're suffering and we're doing nothing. Because if we don't bless, I've talked about the blessing cycle, and somebody talked to me about it when I was in Florida about this, and I do want to talk about, so don't let me miss talking about the swearing in I was at in Florida, because there's some real key things that they said that'll shock you about. Now there's a new administration and we have to follow new rules as to how we're going to proceed. And so it's telling me that they haven't been following the rules of immigration for previous people that they brought into our country. So anyway, I want to talk about that. So here we are, and President Trump wants us to be good to our neighbors. And people kept wondering, how did you come through 12 years without a roof over your head? And I said, God told me, bless the people, bless my people, bless my people, because we're his boots on ground. And we didn't help resolve when Castro came in and took over little Cuba. We didn't do anything. When Mexico was taken over by the cartels, our Congress was doing money laundering with them to bring the drugs in. And that's why now when President said that he blew up that boat he was at Venezuela and it was in one of the ports and he blew up that boat that was filled with drugs. They said, sir, that was international waters. You had no right to be there and da-da-da-da-da. And he said, they're killing my people.
Yeah.
And he said, well, you said they're killing your people. I said, they're killing my people. So what are you going to do with them? He said, I'm going to kill them. There's no bones about it. You want to put drugs on that boat. You want to bring it up here and kill. We've already killed millions of our teenagers with those drugs. You've killed them. So guess what? You get on a boat, try and bring drugs to America, we're going to kill you. I don't care where you are. I don't care where you are on the waters. You're headed to America and you're not going to keep killing my people. And people just went, oh my God, can you believe how he's talking? That's international water and there's rules and da-da-da-da-da. We're going to be good to our neighbors. And you don't want to have your people making money on making drugs and bringing them and killing other people. We're going to help you prosper. We're going to send Chevron and Enron down to help you with your oil and gas. Because guess what, guys? They were making all the money off of it before. Venezuela should be a rich nation. They never should have been stolen from to the degree they have. So he's going to make it good. But here's what the people said. And this is the enemy when the enemy talks. This is how you can tell the difference in the voice. Do you realize when he's working with Venezuela, he's got his back on America? So because he's facing the issues with Venezuela, he's got his back on America. We have to be very careful because we're curing it. And if we don't dispel it and not repeat it, as the prophets are doing, they're hearing negative. It's not from the Father. And they're dispelling it without checking with the Father. And they say they're his prophets. And this has been through all time. And I hope the people that are writing to me and saying, what do you think about what this prophet said and that prophet said? I don't care what they're saying. Because if I hear it and God dispels it, I'm not going to do anything with it. And that's how we all have to become. That's why I keep saying get tight with the Father. Because this whole thing of Western Hemisphere, Greenland, the president heard from the Prime Minister of England, and he said, sir, the Greenlanders need to be in control of the Greenlanders' land. And so how does the Prime Minister get the answer? Great, then the same should be for Britain, where it's controlled and run by Britons. Because y'all are not Britons that are running Britain.
Touche.
Yeah.
Sheila,
Yeah.
this is the picture here. It always caught my attention. I don't know if
Yes.
it's easy to see. And
Yeah.
Melania, I'm sorry, my nails.
Yeah.
Melania is wearing Carolina Herrera in yellow, and Carolina
Yeah.
Herrera flew away. Her family flew to United States, and she became a designer because she was she was from a wealthy family, and then she became very successful in fashion. And Melania was telling us, remember in September, this is
Mhm.
and even to this alleged enemy here, they are having such a splendid attitude towards. So here, Melania was pointing already for us that we have Venezuela. Guys, relax. We are coming there. Okay, here's the deal. The deal is in the other side of the picture, not the red, not the yellow, but the blue. You see, and even towards, and I have always paid very much attention to the crown and to all that because it's in our heritage as well here in Brazil to have a royal family, and even to Queen Elizabeth II, now the King Charles, we, as much as we know the history and the unhappiness that all the stories that have made us pay attention to them, there there are so much. We need to respect the other side and to bring as respect res, as much respect as possible to the other side, because at some point, in we are here, it's not for me, for Melania, for Trump, it's for the whole era. It's a new era. We have to zero and start all over again and never allow it to come back. So what we are doing now, what we are all saying now, should be very much thought before said, because at some point, if negativity wants to come back and trick us again, we cannot allow it now. Now is the time to be careful for the next 1,000 years. Am I making myself clear?
Yeah.
It's why the Pilgrims said for 500 years they banned the church structure in America, because if the parents and grandparents have 500 years of generations to train up a child in the way they should go, we would never have to deal with what we're dealing with ever again. And that's why they did that. But they couldn't retain it and keep it by the time of the Civil War. And then as soon as Ulysses S. Grant, who was their top soldier and everybody honored him and he was so wonderful, and he said, we either have patriots or traitors. Those are the two parties that we have in this country. And then he's the guy who brought back Christmas by law. He brought back Easter Ishtar by law. 1870 Christmas, 1873. And he's the one that signed for the corporation in 1871. So once you get in that position, and the only two presidents that we've had in America are Kennedy and President Trump, who would never accept any money from the corporation because they knew what they were going to do. The silver certificates that he put in, I can send you, I have a picture of it of what they did. Silver certificate in Vietnam War. He got us the silver certificate that you can't keep printing this money unless you have silver to back it. And we're going to get out of this because it's a civil war. And I met the guy who was on the team of 3 or 4 guys that was sent by him from California over to Vietnam. And when he got back, he told Kennedy, it's a civil war. Get out of it. We'd been in it long before people even knew we were in a war. Okay. And so, but they were doing Korea Civil War. And Nicaragua was a civil war between one family, 2 sets of cousins fighting each other and killing each other over what? Drugs and money. I mean, it's just the poppy fields. All of this is related. But if you think about, and people didn't realize, did you know Canada was supposed to be part of America from the very beginning? But King George wouldn't allow it because he was over England and France, and he wanted to be over a Commonwealth. And that's why a couple of the states in America are called the Commonwealth. I think it's the Commonwealth of Virginia, isn't it? Or the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
Correct.
whatever.
That's correct. Yep.
So then New Zealand is Commonwealth, Australia is Commonwealth. They all went out of it. And England is turning, guys. England is turning because now they realize it's all a lie. They realize it's a lie. But can you imagine how this world can change? Because right now, the president has already secured and taken care of Greenland, and people are starting to accept the fact it'll be Greenland. But what did he wear at the last NATO meeting when he went up to Canada? He told him what he was going to do. He wore a 51st pin on one side, and on the other side, it was the American flag on one side, same pin, and the Canadian flag on the other side, and he was wearing the 51st pin. Because he knows how upset they are, because they've all been puppets running Cuba, all been puppets running Canada, all been puppets running Venezuela and Colombia. They could not get out of their own mess. And the president, so now focusing on the Western Hemisphere, which is what I was trying to get us to, and again, ask questions if you have questions. Never have we been friends with our neighbors. What does that say about us? Let them get off on their own. But it was the focus of the regime that, because we've always been an occupied operation from the very beginning, they were never going to let us focus on our neighbors because that's not what works for them. That's why right now we're not only dealing with drugs, we're not only dealing with all these other things, we're dealing with a complete replacement of legal Americans. And you can look this up in the studies. Do you know, like 50, 60 years ago, the number of white Americans having children was in the 80 to 90% in their childbearing years? Do you know now it's like 10 to 20%? All done on purpose. Because they're fighting the people who brought the truth to America. If you look up the history of, I think they call it Anglo-Saxons. I've seen the charts, but anyway, we've let ourselves slide right down a slippery slope into a complete debacle that the president's trying to bring us out of. This picture that you see sitting right behind me, this is a famous artist, and this is the goal of the president. And this was awarded to me. There isn't a thing he's doing that isn't about the children in our future. There isn't a thing he's doing. And if we can be friends with our neighbors, and if we can be interested in them prospering, and we can care about them enough to help them turn their own situation around, I've already seen blessings in America because it's already started. But that's how God brought me out of it. It started just with, all I'm getting is bills and negative messages in the mail. I don't even want to open my mail right now. And he goes, Sheila, write a positive note every day and mail it. That's how it started. And then people wanted to hear more and more. And so I'd write more and more. That's how I ended up in Georgia. That's how I ended up writing these books. And people go, what a plan you've had in your life and what it means. I said, never had a plan. None of this was planned. I didn't know I was going to be doing any of these things. And when you look at this, I had no way with what the government did to me and the agents, which the guys are saying there's a bit of a delay, Sheila, in the restoration and restitution to those of you destroyed by government agents and agencies. I said, okay, you said 18 months, it's been 24. And they go, no, Sheila, it's really been almost 48 months. And I went, oh yeah, that's right. Because I'm not tracking when it's going to turn, because I can't believe as a human sitting in this chair where I write these books, I cannot believe the books he has done with me. I can't, this new book and what it's done. And he wanted a training manual. And I remember I told you guys, I don't know how to do a training manual. And in these 10 years that I've been writing these books, things have been changing because he's been teaching me more. Do you know what I mean? So it's been changing. So how am I going to write for 300 or 400 years to help future generations out into the future? Do you know what people are writing now? And this came from people Jim. The syllabus for life was written by Sheila Holm. It came from you, Jim. Did you know that?
Oh boy. Wow.
People are writing to me, Jim, you got to be careful what you're saying because they're repeating it. You just got to be careful. But they're realizing that, and there are people who can't stand reading. They can't stand it, don't want to read a book. At 500 pages, who do you think I am? There are people that are receiving it as a gift, and they can't stop reading it. They're reading it in 3 to 5 days, and they don't read books. They didn't want to read books when they were in school. And these are people who are in their upper decades. And they're reading the whole book in a few days. Never seen anything like it. What a training manual. I'm like, shoot, I told God I can't write a training manual. Do you see what I mean? So for those of you who say, what can I do? What can I do in America? What can I do to turn things around? What can I do to, what group can I join? Get tight with the Father. Not going to change the message. The message is not going to change. Get tight with the Father. He's the only one who knows the end from the beginning. He knew all of this was going to happen, and he knew I had to write the book series, and he knew I had to experience everything in nation restoration in order to come to Georgia and put up with all of this and keep fighting all of this and keep speaking to people, and he kept expanding it. I didn't even realize it. And then when he gave me the Panama Canal, I was like, whoa. And now it didn't mean anything to me, even when the book was already released, compared to what it means now with Cuba and Mexico and Colombia and Venezuela. And I know they're not in Africa. But anyway, so that map, and if you look at that map, because Chile's in trouble, Peru's been in trouble, Argentina's been destroyed, and we have been sitting here, the city on the hill, I think they call America or whatever, and just they've got us in a position. How do we keep food on the table and the bills paid? And President Trump said today, he said, I'm not into trying to drop all the house prices. And I'm like, oh, please drop the house prices, would you please? And he said, I want people to be prosperous, and I want everybody to be able to buy a house, and I want them to have minimal, if no interest rate. Do you know what I mean? He really wants everything done properly. And he's working on all of this. And he had the cabinet meeting around him. And I don't know all the things that they did, but to meet with Mexico today, to do what he did with Minnesota in the last 24 hours, to do, I mean, and people say, how can he do this? We haven't done the Insurrection Act, and there's military people all over. Commander in chief, guys. You've never seen a commander in chief operating separate from puppet masters. You've never seen it. You're witnessing it. He sends J.D. Vance. Then he sends Holm, gives them all the things he can do to help them. No, we don't need your help. We already know the bad part. So now let our guys come in, because we've given you a chance to get all of our help. Think of how many people that we're sending there. You've seen the pictures, the videos of all the agents and everything else. But now, to be a neighbor to your neighbor, to be a brother to your brother.
My brother.
No titles. No. Everybody kept wanting me to have a title. I don't want a title. Sometimes he uses me as this title, sometimes that title. I don't care. I don't care when. I don't care if it changes. I don't care. What I want is, I want more people coming out of deception, because we've not just been programmed. We've been totally deceived. And the deceivers are going to pay a tremendous price. I was just talking with two this morning, and they don't want to change. So I very quietly and peacefully told them what can happen to deceivers who deceive large groups of people purposely, knowingly. In the world, it's treason. And that's why when people say it doesn't matter about elections, doesn't matter about financial fraud, you can do all this stuff. You can think you're getting away with it. Consequences have never been put on the people doing the evil.
Never.
They've been running the show. So
Sheila,
now, yeah.
Sheila, there's a video, Mike, I sent it to you. It's the last video. I want to show the audience and Sheila exactly what she's talking about. Will you play that, Mike, for us real quickly? It's only a couple minutes. It's really important that people hear this. And it touched my heart. I know it'll touch yours.
I didn't tell you in advance, and you already had a video ready to line up.
Oh my God, this was.
That's why I'm calling you Jim. Yeah.
Oh, God bless you.
All right, so I'm pulling it up here, Jim.
I literally had tears in my eyes when I heard this and saw this.
Is this the lady? The lady that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, let me.
And this goes totally with what Sheila just said.
Did a bit on my spiritual journey as well. And you guys know I am a late waker upper. I must have hit snooze a few too many times, because it's really been slowly since January 6th, but only really since November of 2024 that I've really started waking up. And so I'm late to the party. I'm behind the curve, and I have felt bad about that. I have felt bad that how did I not see so much for so long? But now I am so thankful that this was delayed me for this long, because I don't know how you guys have carried this for that many years. Those of you who have known these things forever, how did you walk this path so long, knowing the things that you know? It is overwhelming me to see and realize all the horrors at once. I don't know how you guys have done it for so long and held yourselves together, because All right. The floor is open for advice. All of those of you who are have been around, your awakening has been, I need help. This is hard. Everything I believed crumbled. Everything. My faith in my faith in my religion, my faith in my country, my faith in my fellow man. It is all shaken to the core. And I'm sitting in the rubble trying to figure out, is there anything true? Is there anything to hold on to? And now I can't believe I couldn't see, because it is so plain. I can't believe I didn't see. I'm sorry that you guys had to carry it alone for so long. But I am thankful for the blessing that I have been spared this for all those years, because I don't know how you do it. The floor is open to suggestions, advice. Obviously, I don't know what I'm doing here, and I could use some mentors along the way. Go love your neighbor.
Go love your neighbor. Can you respond to her and give her the website, Jim?
Yeah, she put her information on that, and I will definitely do that for you. Definitely.
Yeah,
But-
just when you answer, when you can answer her thing, she leaves a link down there to answer her.
Right.
That was powerful. And people keep wondering, how did you stay strong during all of this? It's the children. The picture I just showed you, the president, the whole focus is the children and the future, because we didn't protect a place for them. We didn't protect the future for them. And I don't have children. My life went a completely different direction to be doing what I'm doing now. And I'm not, I really thought I was going to have a family, but it went in this direction. So this is what I'm doing. But please give her the website and refer her to the interviews page on the website. And if she has any other questions, but I'm going to tell you one major thing that God told me, other than, keep it simple, Sheila. You're either the salt and you're with me and that's life, or you're not. That's as simple as it is. So who can she hold on to? What can she trust? That's why I kept saying get tight with the Father. Because Anna, you brought it up and it's so clear. You don't know who you can trust. There isn't a single one of my Norwegian cousins in Minnesota that didn't think that Senate candidate was a great person. She's always smiling. She's got a lot of energy. She's acts like a good person. She always says the right things. You don't know who they are when they're not on camera. You don't know. You've never known. And so where we're at right now is that Father wants you. And when the thing he learned, he taught me, and that I had to learn, it was so painful. I just explained it all to him, God. They don't seem to get it. I don't know what else to do. And they're always rejecting me. It's just like, oh, Sheila, that sounds really interesting, but, I can't see any truth in this. I was like, you can't see any truth in this? And so what's really crazy is God said, nobody has rejected you. I may have mentioned this before. And I said, we travel together. You saw what they just did. They don't want to hear any of this. They don't want to do any of this. It's like when Lot went with his son-in-laws and they were at the pub and they didn't want to leave. And the angel said, this is it. Tonight is it. You got to get them out of the pub. And they wouldn't leave. So they left without him. We're there. I get it. And he goes, Sheila, they have never rejected you. And I go, well, so they're getting it. And he goes, I'm operating in you. They're rejecting me. That's why I need you to keep talking. That's why I need you to keep hugging them. That's why I need you to keep loving them. When I said, the president said, love the haters, the same as love your enemies. We should never be praying to fix other people when we all need fixing. I'm right in there with the whole batch. None of us are perfect. We're not perfect till we're with him. And so I'm still fighting through it too. But if you don't, they don't have a chance of the kingdom. Do you know that? You could be the one person who touches that life. My problem was I wanted to touch everybody because Sheila can handle a lot. And Sheila, I used to be like that. You guys wouldn't have had as much fun with me then as you can now. So we have to get together sometime. But I used to be this person that I could just fix everything. I could fix everything for everybody, and I could do it in less time than anybody else. And I never would have wanted to work for me because I had a lot of corporate positions, and as the only woman on staff in the top level of corporations, I wasn't somebody I would want to work with now that I know what I was like. But at the time, I had to be like that to be at the top of the corporation. So, and be the person they could count on to get everything done because Sheila can get everything done. And see what I mean? You would not have enjoyed me that much. So, anyway, when you realize what people are going through and you realize that they're not going to understand you, but what we're dealing with is the evil that has entered into them because of the deceiving. And no matter what I've tried to do, even in the church structure, I can't get them to stop deceiving the people because they're making money deceiving the people. They're wealthy deceiving the people. I never got on platform with them because when I was in the green room, they practiced in front of a mirror how to get more money out of the people the next time they came out and took another donation. Then they would tell the people they need so much money in order to get it, and that would spread around, and all the people operating in the familiar spirits, I'm just going to call it that, they were all talking to each other what they can do, and then they called their corporations and got them to give money, and then they give all the money that they need, not telling them they were only missing $10,000. They didn't need the whole $450,000. They just told the people they needed $450,000. I watched it all happen. I couldn't be around it. So people said, you really need to get on these big platforms, Shane. You really need to be up with people. No, I don't.
Mm.
And that's why I can back up the fact that where God has taken me and what he has brought me through, and he has never left me. And now here I am. And I've got people inviting me to things I never thought I'd be invited to in my lifetime.
Sheila, I want to correct you.
What?
Not here where you are. Here we are. We are all. This great awakening that you're describing. Every one of us has that same story, and it's God's touched us. We wouldn't be where we are right now if we don't listen to the Father.
Mm-hmm.
We were called and we answered. And Juan put the video out. I mean, a long time ago, the called. Many people were called. Few answered. And the Great Awakening has so many layers to it. And one of them is going within. And everything that you describe, I feel it. I know Anna feels it. We talk about it often. Mike feels it. We talk about it often. This group here, Anna and myself and Mike, we're real tight. And it's hard. And so we have to keep pushing forward. And I put a post out, and Juan reposted my post. And it was a saying that he did with Mike Jaco. And God bless Mike. I mean, Mike's done a great job in this spiritual war too. And that is train to win. We don't train to lose, we train to win. And when we get knocked down, we got to pick ourselves up and we got to dust ourselves off and keep pushing forward. Because this is, like Juan says, this is for all the marbles. This is for planet Earth. And this is God's way of using us. And I'm honored. I'm honored that we have you, Juan, so many other patriots, Mike Jaco. There's thousands and thousands of them. And X has got many good anons on there that are putting out really good information. And like you said, none of this information would come out because the mainstream media would never, ever brought out. No one would even understand what's going on in Minnesota because the media still to this day. Why do we have boots on the ground, everyday people breaking all these news stories? Not the mainstream media, not WCCO, not CBS, not KSCP, not KMSMP. I'm from Minnesota. And I'm here to tell you, the people in Minnesota are wonderful people. It's a small percentage in Minneapolis and St. Paul and St. Cloud. St. Cloud was the beginning of the Muslims and the Somalians before even Minneapolis, St. Paul. They decimated St. Cloud. And that was the beginning of the end. And they tried infiltrating some of the small communities. And that's, that's another whole show for me. But I fought it hard in my county. I fought it very hard. And everyone thought I was racist. And I says, you have no idea what's going on. And anyhow, we're coming up on some time. We're late, but I wanted to say that, Sheila, that I feel everything that you're saying. I know Anna does too, and Mike does too. And the people in Brazil, with Anna, oh my God, they love you, Sheila.
I wanna address that too, because they feel very much connected through our work here, through Jim, through Mike, and through, of course, through you, Sheila. They love hearing you, and we are. They are. I told once to Charlie Ward, they are eager to help, to start helping. And for the Brazilians, we are very open and we are very cheerful, and we are always, but we have to understand what is going on. Not We have to be selective, and we have to prepare ourselves and to give what what the Father is giving to us. We have to be best first, so we can be best to others. And they are I want to address that there are many known people with their faces, but there are so many working with us and literally praying with us. We prayed last week because of the weather in United States. We prayed for we got together and sent message to the White House on behalf on the situation regarding Tina Peters. I messaged President Bolsonaro, who is in jail. So it doesn't matter for me. I'm in a point. It doesn't matter how much of the movie it is. It matters for me. It matters what is my attitude towards the movie, inside of this movie. What am I? What are the footprints that I want to leave? The small footprints that I'm going to leave in this earth, in this movement, at this time. And I want to be.
We're so close to running out of time that I don't want to run it out of time for Mike's schedule.
Yeah,
I thank you, Anna. That is so true. It has to be we the people. Everyone's worried about what's Trump doing, what's the Senate doing, what's it that is going to get taken care of. They want to know what's going to happen with these fraudulent people. It's going to be taken care of. It's waking you up so that you can do what you need to do, and that's why that woman will get her connected if you can write to her that. And I understand about just waking up. I want to give you something and say something about the whole situation with Juan, because I get judged every time, and they go, "I don't know why you back that guy." Da 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 da. What he's done for our country and what he knows about this country. I'll give you an example from the Intel panel I was on Tuesday night. One of the guys was in Wyoming at a meeting, and Juan called him and he goes, "So where are you guys meeting?" He goes, "We're in the Kiwanis building." "Oh, what's the corner it's on?" So he gave him the corner that it was on. He goes, "Oh," and he's watching all this, right? And so he said, "Okay, I'll call you back in a little bit." Within moments, an F-16 goes whizzing by and shaking and almost breaking all the windows of the building. The tailpipe went, and you see the fire as it took off. It's just a couple minutes later, and another F-16. This is a true story. This guy told this story, and he said, and then a few minutes later, here comes a second one. So then Juan calls back and he goes, "So how's your meeting now? Are the people having a good time? Was that a nice flyover show? Do you like it?" And the guy's like, "A flyover show? The only people who can order that is the president, Joint Chiefs staff." See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So Juan
We-
coordinated it, did it. So he didn't just send me to the specialist. I didn't meet him in person until he sent me to the specialist, and he knew I needed radiation help. He knew the exact specialist to send me to. I wouldn't be alive if he hadn't sent me to that specialist. I couldn't get off the plateau. I was kept doing better than worse, better than worse, better than worse, because I had so many layers. I didn't know what the layers were. I didn't know cobra venom until you could see the trails that it was going through. And they said, just one of these little trails should be killing you, because one dose of cobra venom should be killing you. It was Juan that made that appointment. It was Juan that set me up for that. It was Juan who did these things. So when you think, because every phone call that I have with him is richer than the previous phone call. Every time I get a chance to meet with him, wherever we are in the world, is a better conversation than the one before. And it's always deeper, because that man knows things that he may never have to speak about in his entire life. But he is a unique person above all. So please don't write to me and say, Sheila, I worry about you because, that guy just speaks on, and he does this and he does so much scripture and he goes on and doesn't take a break. I'm like, he always does it for a purpose. There's always a message in it. Always a message in it. And so I'm just so honored to be with you guys. And I know you have a tight schedule and you got to go, Mike. And I can't thank you enough. I need a backdrop like you have. So let me know how I can do that. And what we were going to do on doing these little snippets of different topics and stuff, I'm still ready to do that too. The things to help.
Yeah.
You've got a mind for that, and I'm ready for that. I had to pull away. I just really had to pull away. And we need to sometime come on together and just chat for maybe 5-10 minutes, if we can set something like that up.
Yep.
And then and the Sunday thing, I can do that with you guys if you let me know how to set that up. You've been saying to the people I'm going to come on Sunday, and they think I'm coming on, and I don't even know how to come on because I don't know where I'm coming on, and I don't know how to come on. And so, if you could train me on what I need to do, I would be glad to do that. And I had to handle some really, really deep critical things. And the final one just got sealed today by 11:30. And so now I'm going to be able to start writing again and doing things like that. So I just love you guys, and I thank you for this time tonight. And we're out of time with you, Mike, but I wanted to give you moments to prepare for your departure.
No.
And just thank you so much for giving us this. I'm serious, because to run from us and run to that, and you got to stop this, and did you push the right buttons? And I know how this goes.
Yeah.
And I
Just know this too,
I can't
Sheila.
thank you enough.
We share all your podcasts. I mean, I do on my X channel. We get the word out. We share. This is all about all of us. Where we go one, we go all. And we love you, and we love Juan. We know Juan's got everyone pulling on his shirt tail all the time, and we're thankful for whenever he can come on with us too. You guys both have been instrumental, and I want you to know that I have personal friends. They love you too. They absolutely. We're all learning so much, and that I'll reach out to that lady, but there's so many more that are going to be feeling that way, that won't make a video because they're too ashamed.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to let everyone know this is my idea. This is what I believe the Q plan was, is to train us so that we can train everyone else when they start waking up.
The world is waiting on us.
Yep.
It's we the people. We were going to do a show just on answering people's questions. Let's still keep that on the hopper. And the pheasants and the venison didn't arrive yet. And so you don't have to send as many. You could send fewer.
It's coming with elk.
Send fewer.
And it's coming with bison. And I will send it to you in the next week.
Careful. I may not have room in a freezer to put, be careful. Maybe send a little at a time.
Put it outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding.
We've been in
No
the
kidding.
teens every night. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for all this. And Father, we just thank you. You brought us together again for one more amazing time. And there's just always so much to share. So Father, I just thank you for helping rein it in so that it blesses the people in the mighty and matchless name of the only Lord and Savior over all. Amen.
Let it be. Amen.
My name's James McCrank. I would like to ask the board a question. Are you guys familiar with the Nassar Act? Are you familiar with it? If you're not familiar.
Can't say that I am, but we generally don't respond, so go ahead.
Okay. Well, it's important that we do get response because we're not getting any response, and that's why we're all here. The bottom line is this. The United States of America Corporation is dead. Trump killed it 3 years ago. That flag doesn't represent us. That gold fringe around that flag is the signature of the corporation. And the reason that the media is not reporting it, the reason you guys aren't showing up, our sheriff isn't showing up, are you guys part of the corporation or are you part of America? Because everyone here is standing up for our rights. What legacy are you guys going to leave behind for your grandchildren and your kids? And I'm surprised that there ain't thousands of people here tonight. Either we got to do the right thing here, audit these elections, or the military is going to come in and do it. And if they do it, people are going to jail.
Through the storm, our birthrights that the bankers stole, they engineered each crash. They filled their vaults with the people's gold as they printed paper cash. A casino called the stock exchange, where the gambling begins. An investment tool to tempt the fool, where the dealer always wins. In this corporate world of government, where nothing's what it seems, your pathway set with every step to a grave of broken dreams. Unlearning everything we knew is a painful place to dwell, as a wizard sits controlling you behind his hidden veil. A global world agenda set by the deep and darkest state. They're puppets dancing on a string to divide the world with hate. The American dream and our flag of hope, they never let us be. We will serve each other under God in the land of the brave and free. We all saw our world collapsing.
The next thing that's got to fall are these failed, corrupt institutions. And when God Almighty sits and takes that judgment seat, it's over. So do what you can to improve the terrain until there is freedom.
We are the people, we are sovereign, moving forward through the storm. Don't be afraid and hold the line. In the royal house we stand. Like McKinley, Lincoln, Kennedy, we were told to trust the plan. The grandmasters playing 5D chess, they all know the art of war. Real generals on this battlefield led the Anons through the door. Information is the biggest threat in our search to find the proof. Such patriots we won't forget, who all dare to share the truth. We once stood alone against the beast, but united we will fall when we go one.